Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Pashmika, the channel where we talk about eco-friendly, zero-waste, nature lover, animal lover. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about is avoiding dairy is good for environmental or not. Like there are so many studies right now going and research is going on, going with the vegan, and veganism should be the approach if you're going for eco-friendly or more sustainable living. So is it really helping the nature by avoiding the dairy products? I'm going to talk about the research, the data that has been done based on what I'm seeing currently. So I'm going to be sharing my own experience with you, how I'm actually transitioning from vegetarian to a vegan. About is avoiding dairy good for environment or not? Without further ado, let's get started with that. Before click the like button, guys. I do appreciate that. If you want more such video future, consider subscribing, hit the bell icon. Whenever I'm gonna upload your videos, you're gonna get notified about it. Also, I have a complete platter workbook that will going to help you becoming more eco-friendly, zero-waste, sustainable lifestyle. The link is in the description box below. You can very well download this PDF. You can fill it out and you can have and maintain your sustainable lifestyle. Without further ado, let's get started. I'll be talking about some of the data over here. The first data which I collected, the environmental impact of shifting half your dairy consumption to non-dairy alternative is not simple to calculate. However, in 2005, the University of NSW and CSIRO conducted a triple bottom line analysis of 135 sectors of Australian economy called Balancing Act, from which it is possible to calculate the environmental impact derived from $1 spent in any particular industry. So basically comparing the dairy production, dairy use with the half of the dairy use and then with not at all dairy use. And they are comparing the data and looking at the data and understanding that whether avoiding the dairy products is really good for environment or not. It's not always possible to calculate these data, but they have done some research in 2005 in Australia. So I'll just gotta quickly talk about if you're reducing the dairy products to half of your consumption and then not at all using any dairy product, what is the reduction, and you get the point there. Okay, using the dairy product sector, the environmental benefits of reducing your dairy consumption by half are as follows. So I'm reducing the dairy consumption to the half according to this research, and now we will going to take a look at the data which has been collected when they are reducing the dairy production to almost half of the consumption. Reduction is greenhouse gas emissions, 1270.2 kilogram carbon dioxide per annum. So there is a great reduction in the greenhouse gas. Reduction in the water use, 421,000 liters per annum. So that's really a huge reduction in land disturbance, 2,459 meters square to 0.246 hectares per annum. So these were the basic parameters. You can see that there was a reduction in the greenhouse, water use and land disturbance. Now if we take a look at when we are not at all using any dairy products, how these parameters are affected. We obviously need to replace the dairy product with the vegetable source. So here we need to replace them, and if we are replacing these dairy products consumption with the corresponding increase in vegetable and fruit growing that we will be growing on the land, then let's take a look at the numbers. So reduction in the greenhouse gas emission, 409 kg carbon dioxide per annum. Reduction in water use is 104,000 liters per annum. That's huge. Reduction in land disturbance, 226 meters square to 0.0226 hectares per annum. These environmental benefits of shifting half your dairy consumption to alternatives should be as follows. Reduction in the greenhouse gas emission, 861 kg carbon dioxide per annum. Reduction in water use, 316,000 liters per annum. Reduction in land disturbance, 2,233 meters square. So you can see that if you're reducing your dairy consumption to almost a half, there is a great reduction in the water use, carbon dioxide emission, that's the greenhouse gas emission, and also there is a less land disturbances. So there is a huge benefit if you're reducing your dairy consumption, and if you're going with a completely a plant-based diet, then obviously there is also another reduction. So you would be thinking how you're gonna proceed with that. So according to the studies, they were telling that recently there has been a lot of the research has been going in this area, and you're gonna see a lot of many products available in the market. They are replacing the dairy products, like replacing the dairy milk, the cheese, the yogurt, and all the different items that we are getting from the milk of the cow's milk or buffalo milk or whatever the animal milk we are actually consuming. So depending on that, there are so many alternatives available. Like one of the major alternative is the soya milk. It's extracted from the soya beans. can be substituted for cow's milk in most of instances and has all the nutrients of cow's milk without lactose, saturated fat and cholesterol. Now, lactose intolerance could be a great side effect of using a dairy products, but if you're going with a plant-based diet, then you are not getting lactose at all in the soya milk. So that could be a great alternative for lactose intolerance people as well, and also for the people who are actually replacing the dairy milk. One research. Now let's move on to the another research that has been area. The new analysis shows that while meat and dairy provide just 18% of calories and 37% of protein, it uses a vast majority, 83% of farmland, and produces 60% of agriculture's greenhouse gas emission. So we are here talking about the meat and dairy both, but I'm focusing on a dairy. So that's what you can see, that there is a huge increase in the use of the farmland, that's land disturbances, and increased emission of the greenhouse gases. Research is being done by the University of Oxford, and they were comparing the different farms. They were also comparing the meat farms and the dairy farms with the vegetable farms. So they calculated that there is a huge difference between the greenhouse gas emissions and land use. So if you can take a look at the dairy products, you're gonna see that there is a huge amount of the greenhouse gas emissions and a lot of the land have been used. But when you're moving towards the more of the plant-based diet, if you're growing the same plants like the soya, the peanuts and the groundnuts and the pulses and all those things from which you're extracting the dairy alternative products, like from which you're extracting the milk, the yogurt and the butter, they are taking very less greenhouse gas emission, and also the land use is very less. So that was a great difference they saw in the greenhouse gas emission, the land use, when they are comparing the dairy farms with the normal plant farming. So here's greater awareness around climate change is making many people reconsider their individual environmental footprints, particularly in relation to diet. In 2018, a report by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization published by Reuters found that direct and indirect emissions from the livestock comprise 14.5% of greenhouse gas emission over a global life cycle. For the ecological conscious, the question of whether or not you can consume dairy and still call yourself an environmentalist has never been more fraught. So still people are thinking whether they can be eating the dairy product and still themselves called as it eco-friendly or sustainable. But since you can see there is a huge greenhouse gas emission has been happening, and also there is a land disturbances and the water being used, so you can't call it as a completely an environmentalist if you're consuming a dairy product. We're going to talk about some of the countries comparison over here which are reducing their dairy consumption, and which is a great progress. Some countries are making good progress in reducing emissions related to the dairy. For example, in Northern Ireland, farmers have reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 30.7% per liter of milk since 1990 by increasing the amount of milk produced per cow. However, overall milk production has also increased by 67%. Now, you would be thinking, what are the environmental impact of plant-based dairy alternatives? Like if you are replacing your animal-based dairy products with the plant-based, how much the environmental impact is happening? So let's talk about that. It is estimated that moving from current dietary patterns to plant-based diets on a global scale would drastically improve the environmental impact of food production, reducing land use by 76%, including 19% reduced land use for crop growth as additional crops are needed to feed cattle, reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 49%, reducing damage to water supply with 50% reduction in acidification. These are the different studies that have been happening in the world from almost decades or more than that, and you can see there is a huge reduction if you're going with the plant-based milk or plant-based dairy alternatives to the dairy products. That it's not possible to replace them. I can tell you it's possible to replace them. Personally, I've been replacing the normal cow's butter, which I've been utilizing for a few months, to a peanut butter, and I see that there is a significant changes. Firstly, it's easy for me to actually make a peanut butter than getting the cow butter from the market that's made from the cow's milk. So that is the first thing. And the second thing, I see that I'm really enjoying the taste of the peanut butter more in comparison to the normal regular butter. Of course, the transitioning is not that easy. You may not like the taste, or you may see some other health benefits, maybe side effect, depending on who you are, how your body reacts, because I've seen that some people do have the allergies to the peanut or soya. So depending on your body and how it's working, you may find a little bit difficult in transitioning from vegetarian, from removing and avoiding the dairy products, to completely becoming a vegan. And depending on how long it will going to take you to completely transition, it all varies a lot. But again guys, you could see from the data, from the research, that there is a great reduction if you're going with the plant-based dairy alternatives, and that could help you become more eco-friendly. Let's talk about the summary, the conclusion after looking at all the research, all the data that is available on the internet, talking about the recent research that has been done in this particular area. Is it really possible to avoid dairy at all costs, or should you be avoiding dairy completely? Or you should be completely focusing on a plant-based diet? Still the question remains the same. But again, depending on the data we have seen so far, we can clearly say that by moving towards plant-based diet, we are helping environment a lot, and also reducing the animal cruelty that may be happening around the world in the various different farms. You can actually approach this thing about becoming a vegan if you want to, how to avoid these dairy products. So I'm gonna be summarize the things over here. Depending on the each individual specific body, the things will going to vary, because you may be having an allergic to the cereals, or to the seeds, or the nuts, or the peanuts, or the soya. You may be having allergy to the lactose, or you're having a lactose intolerance that's there in the cow's milk. So depending on your own specific body, you need to take these things into consideration. Of course, we are moving towards more eco-friendly or sustainable lifestyle. We want to harm environment as much as we can, and also protect and save our animals from the cruelty, and give them the equal good life as much as we can. But also we need to take a look at our own nutritional needs, because replacing the dairy products with the plant-based products is not that easy as it may sound for many people. Because if you have been utilizing dairy products for years, now you are transitioning from that to complete vegan, it would be difficult and hard in the beginning, because of, first of all, the craving if you are having a craving for a butter or a cheese. Secondly, you might find the taste of the plant-based a little bit different than the cows or the animal-based dairy products. Thirdly, you won't be able to completely replace them, because the dietary value of both of them is completely different, or you may be having an allergy of a peanut or soya or something like that. So it all depends on you, how you want to approach this particular thing. But what can I say? I'm personally transitioning from dairy products to completely becoming a vegan. Your own specific needs, depending on your own cravings, your nutritional needs, you need to decide for yourself whether you want to move towards complete vegan, or you want to continue using the dairy product. Depends on you. But here is a summary of how you can actually help the environment if you are avoiding the dairy. The purpose of this channel and these videos are to actually give you the right information, right education of what's actually right, and then give you the option that you need to choose for yourself, whether you want to go with the vegan, whether you want to continue using the vegetarian products, or continue using the dairy products. It all depends on you. But I'm actually giving you the right information, which I've been doing based on my own research, the data that I've been collecting from the internet, and also talking to the other people locally. Do you want to choose whether you are avoiding dairy at all cost or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Or are you still using the dairy products? What are your views about vegan? Or are you transitioning into vegan, or are you vegan? I would really love to hear from you in the comment section below about you. Because it should be an individual choice, individual option, not it should be converted by forcefully converting the people into a vegetarian to vegan. It shouldn't be like that. So you let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I'll gonna see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye guys.